Hello, so we have a request this week for a laying on the mat series. So we're going to have a whole body workout where we're going to be on the mat laying down the whole time. So perfect for those days where maybe you have a bit of lower energy or you're just not feeling high intensity movement. You'll just need a mat, no equipment, listening to your body, taking the options that are going to work best for you. We're going to lie down on our back and just start with a little bit of breathing for today. So come on your mat, legs stretched out in front of you, hands are just going to go wherever you feel comfortable. It could be laying on your stomach, next to your side, or even extended over your head. I'm going to get you to close your eyes down. We're going to take a big inhale through our nose and exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. So just taking some time here to set up your breathing and really get that ready for the movements that we're going to do. Closing down your eyes, I just want you to set your intentions for today's class. So it might be just listening to your body, taking it easy and a really nice gentle flow, or it might be trying a new move, trying to extend yourself, just listening to your body in this moment and figuring out what is going to be best for you today. While we're here, I'm going to get you to take one more big inhale breath. Hold it and release through your mouth. Beautiful. I'll get you to bring your knees to a bend and your feet are going to be to the outside of your mat. You're going to drop both of your knees down to the left side and then draw them back up to the middle and drop them over to the other side. Adding in that breathing that we just worked on, so as you open them up to the right side, inhale, and then exhale as you move them over to the left side. And I want you to really try and work on making that breathing or that breath last for that whole movement. So we're going to have a big connection today on connecting our breath with our movement, which is so important in Pilates, but something that you can take into your everyday life as well, breathing through different moments of your day. Inhale, exhale. Beautiful. Draw those knees back up to center and bring your feet in line with your knees and your hips. Bring your hands into a diamond shape. I want you to bring the palms of your hands onto the bony parts of your hips and then lay your diamond onto your stomach. We're going to come into some pelvic tilts here. Pelvic tilts are really great. They're going to help us warm up our spine a little bit, get some mobility there, but also they're going to be really good to help us find our natural neutral spine. So as you're doing your pelvic tilts, I just want you to take notice. Are you more naturally arched, or do you feel more natural when you're pushing that back down into the mat? Now with our neutral spine, generally we want our fingers and our thumbs to be in line with each other, and that's a pretty good indication of a neutral spine. But of course, everyone's neutral spine is going to be different. So I want you to find your neutral spine somewhere in between those two movements. Core is engaged, so I want you to draw your lower abdominals into your spine. With an inhale breath, we're going to bring our legs up to tabletop, and they're just going to stay in tabletop. So our knees are in line with our hips, our shins are parallel to the ceiling above us. Hands are going to come behind your head and we're going to come into our crunch. Inhale to prepare. Lift your head, neck and shoulders off the mat for a crunch. Lower back down. Lift for a crunch. Lower back down. Now we're going to keep the legs in tabletop here, which is already going to be testing our core stability. So already you should be feeling those abdominals start to burn. Check in with your core. Now we don't want any doming. If you're doming and pushing your abdominals up into the roof, then we're not engaging our core. So if you're doing that, just pause, draw your core into your spine, and then continue with your crunches. This is a slow and controlled move, and we're just lifting those shoulders off the mat. So we're not going into a full sit-up, we're just working on a crunch. As you bring your shoulders up, exhale, inhale to bring them back down. So really making sure that with each movement we do today, we're using our breath. On this next crunch, I want you to hold up. We're going to extend those legs out to a 45-degree angle, draw them back into tabletop, lower your crunch down. Crunch up, extend your legs out, draw them in, lower them back down. Now, if you're finding that the double leg extension is too much for you, then just go to a single leg extension. Just bring it back to single, that's fine. Or even just bring it back to a single toe tap, keeping that 45-degree angle. Whatever option is going to work best for you. As you crunch and extend, we're exhaling and we're inhaling as we're bringing it back in. Great, we're going to go 2 more here. Crunch, extend, draw it in, lower it back down. On this next one, we're going to crunch up. We're going to add in an oblique crunch. So we're going to start with our right elbow coming over to our left leg and extending that left leg out long. Come back to center, lower your crunch down. Crunch up. Left elbow coming over to the right side, right leg extending long. Bring it back to center, crunch back down. So we're crunching, elbow to opposite side, extend that leg long, back to center, lower your crunch. Now it can be really tempting to try and speed this move up, but we really want to make sure that we're having slow and controlled movements here. So the crunch up is actually separate to the oblique crunch that we're doing when we get to the top here. Let's go 2 more each side. Use your breath. Crunch up, extend, crunch up, extend. Final one here. Lower that crunch down, feet find the mat. Draw your knees into your chest, give yourself a little hug here. A moment just to roll out that back side to side. You may wish to do some circular movements one way and then the other way. While you're hugging those knees into your chest, I want you to lift your head up so you're in a ball. From here, we're going to extend our legs out, our arms out, and come back into a ball. Extend those legs and those arms out, come back into a ball. Each time you're coming back into the ball, feel a little massage throughout your lower back. And each time that you're extending those arms and legs out, you're going to feel that core really engage. Use your breath. One more here. Hold that ball, lower your head down. Just massage that lower back out. Extend both of your legs long, hands overhead. We're just going to catch our breath here. 2 inhales and exhales. Alright, so core should be on a fire. We're going to rest our core a little bit here and move into some glute work. Bringing those feet in line with your knees and your hips, and we have a bend in our knee. You're going to have your hands just by your side. We're going to lift those hips off And as we lift, those arms are going to extend overhead. As we lower, they're going to come back down to your side. Lift up through the hips, extend those arms long, and then bring everything back to the mat. Now as you push up, exhale. As you come in, inhale. As you push up, exhale. As you come in, inhale. I want you to make sure that you're pushing through those heels so we're really feeling that glute engagement. On this next one, your hands are going to stay by your side. Push up through your heels. One vertebrae of your back is lifting at a time, and then lowering back down. Your hips and your glutes are the last thing to touch the mat. They're the first to leave as you push up through your back, one vertebrae at a time, and then lowering back down. We're going to stay here for 10 more glute bridges. Now what I want you to make sure that you're doing is that your core is still engaged here, so we don't forget about our core. We should still feel those lower abdominals engaged. And we're still breathing through here. And when you get to the top, I want you to make sure that you're not overextending or arching your back. We really are focusing on just coming up to a level that's good for you, where you feel those glutes engaged, and then lowering back down. Quite different to a yoga bridge, where we're trying to push those hips up as far as we can and stretch through them. We are doing this as a glute exercise here. All right, we've got 2 more. Last one, I want you to hold up the top. We're going to lower down, push it back up. Lower down halfway, push it back up. So just including some pulses here. Let's go for 10, 9, slow and controlled, 7, 6, breathe through. You've got 5, 4, 3, 2 more. Hold it up. We're just going to stay here and hold. Push those heels down into the mat. Feel that engagement through your glutes, maybe even your hamstrings here. And then what I want you to do is push the weight into one of your heels and then over into the other side. So just doing a little bit of hip movement here, swaying our hips from side to side. Really pushing through one of the heels at a time. You get a really strong connection into that glute that you're pushing through, but also a bit of a stretch through that opposite hip as well. Let's go 2 more each side. The last one here. Lower down with control. Hug those knees in for a second. Okay. We're going to do some more glute bridges here. So bring those heels back down to the mat. But this time you're going to lift your toes off the mat, and only your heels are going to be connected to the mat. So heels are pushing down into the mat. Same thing, we're going to lift up through our hips, lower back down. Lift up through our hips, lower back down. I still want that articulation through your spine. So one vertebra at a time. Hips are the first thing to lift up and the last thing to drop down. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, take those hands off the mat, and then you are working on some of your stability as well. By lifting our heels up off the mat, we're aiming to get a deeper glute connection. So this is really good if you're doing glute bridges and you're not quite feeling it, where we're saying that you should feel it. Lifting those toes off the mat and pushing your heels into the mat really can help with that glute engagement. Check in with your hips, make sure that they're lifting and lowering level with each other. You're not favoring one side over the other. We've got 2 more here. Let's push up and hold. Let's go into those pulses, lower halfway and lift. Oh, I'm definitely feeling it in my glutes, even my hamstrings are starting to fire. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, lift and hold. We're holding for 10. Breathe through. We have 8, 7, 6, 5. Use your breath. 3, 2, and 1. Lowering it back down. Hug those knees into your chest. Just give yourself a little bit of a rollout here. We've got one more variation of our glute bridge. I like to call this one our butterfly glute bridge. So what we're going to do, our feet are going to come together and we're going to have the sides of our feet resting down onto the mat. We still have a bend in our knees, but our knees are going to now come out towards the corners of the room. Hands are down by your side. From here, you're going to push up into your glute bridge, lower back down. Push up into your glute bridge, lower back down. So we're still using all of the same cues that we do in a normal glute bridge, but our feet are together now and our knees are tracking out to the sides of our mat. What you should start to feel here is an engagement in the glute in just a different area. So sort of more on the outside of our glutes that we should be feeling this one through now. Continue to use your breath. You may feel your inner thighs here as well as we're pushing up. We're going to go for 5 more. 4, 3, 2, last one. Hold up, pulse it out. Ooh, glutes are starting to fire now. Make sure those hips are staying in line with each other. You're not favoring one over the other. 5, 4, 3, 2, and yes, we're going to lift up and hold it for 10, 9, 8, breathe through. I know it's starting to burn. You've got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lowering it back down, drawing those knees in. A little bit of a roll out here. Beautiful. So we're going to continue to stay laying down on our mat, but I'm going to get you to come into your side lying here. So I'm going to start with my left hand down on the mat and my right hip on top here. Checking in with your core. So I want you to have that core engaged and it should be lifted off the mat a little bit. So you shouldn't be slouched down into the mat. We should be lifted. We're going to lift both of our legs, lowering them back down. Lift both of your legs, lowering them back down. So our hips are on top of each other and our legs are stacked on top of each other here as well. You can have your hand resting on the mat in front of you for some extra stability, or up on your hip if you want to challenge that stability a little bit more. And with your hand, it can either be up, it can either be up in your hand or laying down on your shoulder. So just find whatever is going to be comfortable for you. Now, often we can think that this is a leg movement and we're definitely going to feel those legs engaged, but we're working on our side waist here, so into our obliques. On this next one, I want you to take your top hand, and as you lift those legs, that top hand is going to extend over and then lower back down. Lift, reach that top hand, lower back down. Working through our obliques, feeling that top side waist really start to burn here. We're going to go 3 more here, and then there's an optional layer on if you would like to use it. Last one here, rest everything back down for a second. That top arm, the one on the mat, is going to come out on an angle in front of you. Now we're still going to be lifting and reaching, but as we lift and reach, we're going to roll back on those hips a little bit and reach up to our toes and then come back down onto the mat. Lift, reach, roll, and just touch wherever it feels comfortable for you. If it's just to your top of your shin, that's fine. If it's all the way down onto your ankles, that's great as well. Now this is quite challenging. Maybe you want to try one, then go back into your side leg lifts, and that's completely fine. One more here. On this next one, I'm going to reach up and we're going to come into either a half boat pose or a full V-sit, whatever works best for you. So we're either here or we're here. Shoulders are back. We're going to hold for 3, 2, 1. Coming back down onto your mat, and we're going to roll over onto our belly. So we are in a position where we're drawing down into our mat. Just let your body melt into your mat. I want you to have your hands just in front of your shoulders here. Rest your head down onto the mat. Pushing up through your upper back, lift your head up, lowering it back down. Lifting your head up, lowering back down. So we're just coming into some small back extensions here, just warming up into our upper back. I want you to make sure that your core is still engaged. Now, often when we're working on our back or through our posterior chain and we are laying onto the mat, we can let that core go, and that's when we're going to start to really get some lower back pain. So still in drawing that core into your lower spine, working on keeping those transverse abdominals engaged as well. All right, one more back extension here. Coming back down into the mat. Push your heels or your feet down into the mat. Core is engaged and your hips are staying on the mat here. I want your hands to come out in front of you. Lift up, your hands are in a Y shape. We're going to stay here. We're going to draw those elbows back and down and then press them back up. Draw those elbows back and down. Upper back is engaged here. Draw them back out. Now I like to keep my head lifted. If that doesn't feel good for you, you can keep your head down on the mat, or each time you push those hands out in front of you, you can just have a little rest and bring your head down and then lift it back up when you're drawing your elbows back. So you're almost thinking here like you're doing a lat pull down. So there's going to be rotation through your shoulder as you're drawing them back. And we really want to feel our upper back engage here. All right, we're going to go for 2 more. The last one, hold it back, hands come out into a T position. Push through those fingertips, long arms, and we're just going to do some T pulses here. You should feel this one burning straight away. Eye gaze down into the mat to keep your neutral spine. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering everything back down, having a little rest here. Hands are going to be stacked on top of each other, and those hands are going to come to your forehead. We're going to lift our upper back with our hands on our forehead, lower back down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. And remember, if you're starting to feel any pain throughout your lower back, make sure you have a rest. Also, try to really engage that core, and that will hopefully help with your lower back pain. On this next one, I want you to hold. Our arms are going to come out diagonally, and you're going to look towards the arm that's behind you, reaching towards your feet. Back to center, lower back down. Lift, arms come out diagonally, look to your back hand, back to center, lower down. Up, diagonal reach, center, lower back down. Beautiful, we're going to work through this 2 more times each side. Last movement for our back here. lift, reach. Last time each side. Looking towards that back hand. Last one here. Push yourself back into your child's pose. Have a little bit of a rest here. Catch your breath. And feel that stretch out of your lower back. All right, we're going to come straight into our side lying on the other side here. So our right hand is going to be down on the mat and our left leg is going to be on top this time. Core engaged, lifting up off the mat. Legs and hips are stacked on top of each other, hand either in front of you, or if you want to challenge that stability a little bit more, hand is going to be on your top hip. Lifting both legs, lowering down. Lifting both legs, lowering down. So we are definitely going to start feeling it through those legs, but we're aiming to feel this in our top sideways to work our obliques. Breathing through. That top hand can now extend over your head. As you lift your legs, reach that top hand towards your knee. Lower it back down. Lift and reach. Lower it back down. Now remember, this may be enough for you. This might challenge your oblique strength and balance enough. If you do want to add on here, then on this next one, bring that right hand out on an angle. As we lift and reach, we're going to rotate back. Touch wherever is comfortable for you on your leg. Lower back down. Lift, rotate, lowering back down. Use your breath to help you. On this next one, we are going to lift and come into our boat pose. Remember, if boat pose is too much, hold half boat pose or come up into your full V-sit. Wherever you're working, make sure that those shoulders are drawn back and down and we're not slouching through those shoulders. We're going to go for 3, for 2, for 1, lowering back down, coming onto the mat. We're going to finish today how we started. Legs extended out in front of you. Hands are going to drop wherever is comfortable for you, either resting on your stomach, hands beside you, over your head. But whatever works best for you, I want you to close down your eyes. Inhale, exhale. Just allow yourself to catch your breath here. Reflecting on your class and the movement that you've just done. Just thank your body. Practice some gratitude for a movement that you were able to do today. We can be so hard on ourselves, so hard on our body. So just taking a moment of gratitude here. Feeling that belly rise and fall with each breath. When you're ready, I'll get you to join me up in a seated position. Well done on your movements for today. If you have any requests of anything you would like to work on, just let me know and we can always organise that for one of our weekly classes. Have a fantastic day and make sure you take your Pilates breathing out into the world with you.